Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 7 of season 4 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where today we're here back for the jewel in the Formula 1 crown. Yes, oh yes, it's time for the Monaco Grand Prix. My favourite, well, one of my favourite tracks on the Formula 1 calendar. One of our best shots of the year to try and get a race victory as well. Now, obviously, if you missed out on the last video that went live at Spain a couple of days ago, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. There will be spoilers in 3, 2, 1 now. So, last time out then, we saw our 5th different winner in 6 races so far this year there. George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Alex Albon, Valtteri Bottas, and now Daniel Ricciardo are all Grand Prix winners in the early stages of this season. We, though, still yet to get that coveted dub here on F1 2020 Season 4. We've had 3 second places, 2 third places, and then a 6th at the Dutch Grand Prix. So Monaco, normally one of our best chances to cause a bit of an upset on F1 2020. So hopefully we can try and do that here today. But championship-wise, though, Albon just 3 points behind us. There has now been a new patch put in place, though, on F1 2020. So maybe Albon's going to be a bit nerfed. Yeah, we'll wait and see about that. Bottas obviously still in 3rd place there, just 1 point now ahead of Daniel Ricciardo after his first win, of the World Championship there. But consistency has been our key so far this year. Hopefully we can continue that form. Let's dive in then here to qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. Well, here we are then, at the Monaco Grand Prix, in much soggier conditions than I was hoping for. We have applied a couple of upgrades to the car ready for this weekend, but I've been struggling actually with the oversteer in the dry, so no idea how we're going to fare now in these intermediate conditions to kick off qualifying. It's probably just going to be one of those sessions where you want to be outrunning laps as often as possible here, but not quite what we wanted for the Monaco Grand Prix. A very damp circuit. Obviously, you always apply as much downforce as you can around here. Yeah, so if there's any more downforce to be added, I'm sure everyone will have put every last bit of it on. Let's just see if we can get through into Q2. Coming down in through the final chicane then, just trying to keep it nice and tidy as we head into La Rascasse. Way too early on the brakes that time round. But we've only got Anthony Noogs left to navigate here. Valtteri Bottas, a 23.4. Current fastest in the session. We are going to do a 23.0. So happy with that one. I think we've got one of the Ferraris behind us. That's Verstappen. Slotting into P4, so that's good. I think we've got enough fuel. We'll go for another run. Coming towards the end of our second run. We're still getting wheel spin in like 4th and 5th gear in a couple of places, but we found a lot more time. We are still provisionally top of the standings at the moment. Jeff saying the rain's going to get a lot less. We set a 22.2 though that time round, so I think now we're going to pit back in and see if the track gets quicker. So there we go then, Q1 done and dusted for the Monaco Grand Prix. Currently fastest by 9/10 of a second there, so very happy with that. We have completely driven this car towards the wet qualifying though, so race pace we might struggle a little bit there. But George Russell and Bottas 2nd and 3rd. Albon still seeming to be quick in 4th there ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen. You can see further down the order there. Daniel Ricciardo down in 12th. Nick de Vries doing a good job to get into Q2. Not often do we see that from him, but Raikkonen out in Q2 there, down in 20th place, just ahead of Matsushita and Latifi. Let's dive in then to the second session. Heading out then for our first run in Q2, homeboy Charles Leclerc just a couple of seconds up the road there. We'll try and give him as much breathing room as we sensibly can, but hopefully, yeah, now we should be able to get through into Q3. That first session does fill me with a fair bit of confidence, but obviously, like always, the most important thing is you don't wallop an Armco barrier around this track. It is the absolute definition of to finish first you must finish around the Monaco Grand Prix. Ooh, and again, getting a little bit fishtaily through the first sector there, but we get the power down in towards Upper Mirabeau there. You can just see trying to keep the car nice and tidy. You don't actually have to brake that much earlier in most places there. Gasly doing a 122.8. Obviously, this track does always get rapidly quicker as qualifying goes on. Obviously, I'm sure we all remember Charles Leclerc in the real-life Monaco Grand Prix last year for Ferrari, getting knocked out in Q1. Times are definitely tumbling in this qualifying session at the moment there. We're just going to try and actually get round to the end of the lap this time round through the final chicane, trying to get the power down, leave it in first gear through Anthony Noakes, then short shift on the exit. Just a little bit there, wheel spinning still in 4th and 5th gear there, but a 121.2. The track is definitely getting quicker. That was, I think, well, fastest in this session by a good 9/10 of a second. Also, the track did get a lot quicker there, right at the end of Q2. We were lucky to actually sneak through right at the end of the session there. You can see quite a few surprises getting through into Q3 there. Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez and Lando Norris all getting through, but Max Verstappen out in the second qualifying session here for the Monaco Grand Prix there. He joins both AlphaTauri, Stroll, Ocon and obviously Nick de Vries as well there. But the track definitely getting a lot quicker. This might be one of those sessions where last man out has got a real good chance at pole. And now heading into Q3, it is all dried up here at the Monaco Grand Prix circuit, so the times are certainly going to tumble now. Everyone has got a lot of fresh sets of soft compound tyres as well, so tyres shouldn't be an issue in this final session. We'll all obviously get to start on fresh rubber as well here, so we're going to see probably some 108s, maybe close to a 107 in this session as well, obviously, if we get the lap hooked up. But now we really have got no idea who our main rival is. Obviously, I've ran so much aero that we might struggle a little bit in this final session. Qualifying is absolutely everything, as I'm sure we're all aware around the Monaco Grand Prix circuits. I get a bit loose through the first few corners there. There is still a little bit of spray being kicked up as Hamilton only on a 112, so this, yeah, very much still could be. Everyone's trying to get the water off the line, and then hopefully the times will continue to drop. Just being a little bit tentative as we head down through Sector 3. There's definitely not quite as much grip as we saw in yesterday's Friday running. So we just head through the final couple of corners though. This still should be a decent lap as long as I don't get too fishtailing out the final corner. A 111.7. A long way off where we'd want to be, but it's still fastest. Here we go then, getting ready for our final shot at pole position here. It's currently a Red Bull front row lockout. Don't think we've seen that so far in this series, but getting ready for our final lap here in qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. Sweat mode is definitely going to need to be engaged. Hopefully we can stick it on pole position. George Russell actually went fastest last year, if you remember, but he had grid penalties that cost him a good chance at the race victory. So we got pole and the dub last time we head to the Monaco Grand Prix, but threading the needle through Casino Square there on this final outing. You just got to be all out committed. That's not going to help though. Just walloping the inside curb in as we head through Upper Mirabeau there. Hasn't cost us too much time by the look of it. And yeah, you can already see on the Delta just how much more grip there is as we head on these final runs there. Bottas goes fast as a 109.2. Are we going to see any more improvements over that? I'm sure we will over the course of this session there, but I cannot afford to look at the times that people are setting. I don't even know who's on pole position at the moment as we head down in towards to back. Keep it nice and tidy, actually just nicking the wall on the exit there, giving ourselves a little bit of front wing damage as we head in towards the final chicane of this lap. Through Anthony Noakes we go, try and not light up the rear wheels too much. Now just the run towards the line, we're 3 seconds up, we're down in last. A 108.6, where does that leave us? On the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix, second. Who's at us right at the end there? Who went quicker? Who has got pole position on the most coveted track on the Formula 1 calendar?
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three. Bottas, Mr. Monaco and Alexander Albon. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So I'm guessing then Bottas was able to get one more run in at the end of the session there to nab pole position by half a second here for the Monaco Grand Prix there. But we still start in the front row. That's quite good. We'll take it rather happily. Albon just behind us ahead of Russell, Ricciardo and our teammate Lewis Hamilton there, as Charles Leclerc seems to be battling out with the racing points and the McLarens there. But we got the lap in when it mattered. I think we did as well as we could have there. Let's dive in then here for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula 1 returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars climb around 40 metres up through Beau Rivage, onto the casino, and then descending down towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners here, 7 to the left and 11 to the right. There's one single DRS zone as well, so don't expect that to make overtaking any easier today. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Can we begin by having a chat about Sergio Perez? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Russell, Daniel Ricciardo, and Hamilton, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, and Lance Stroll, Kvyat, Gasly, Max Verstappen, and Ocon, De Vries, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Jordan King. Perez, they've taken a grid penalty. Raikkonen, Matsushita, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. Like we said, the jewel in the Formula 1 crown, the one every driver wants to win. And hopefully today, we can go back-to-back here. I'm not too optimistic, because there's been one key thing that's always failed us so far at the Monaco Grand Prix on F1 2020. That's been our starts. I don't think we've ever made up a place at the start of the Monaco Grand Prix so far in this series. I remember last season we got mugged off at the start. We're starting this time around in P2. I don't think we've ever started P2 on the grid for this race. But hopefully we got Bottas just in front of us, Albon just behind us. We can keep it clean into turn 1 and see if we can come out the other side in one piece. I'm also tempted to try and do soft mediums in this Grand Prix just because I don't really want to use the hard tyres if I can avoid it here. But it's going to be a very, very long race ahead of us nonetheless. Obviously, if you're new around here, get yourself subscribed. Let's dive in then. Round 7 of the season here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Starting on softer rubber, we got hards, mediums and softs. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix there. And Bottas, clearly aware of us starting on that quicker rubber, just cuts across us to defend in towards the first corner there. George Russell even appears to have got off to a good start, straight up into P3 of the Grand Prix as both Red Bulls on hard compounded tyres there. Not too sure why they've opted to start on those for this race, but they have lost out off the start there. So Bottas still leads ahead of myself. Then we've got a swap of Russell into P3 ahead of Albon, who drops down to P4 there. Still my main title rival as the inevitable yellow flags for Constantino and up on the opening lap of this race, as always, as we try to get the power down out under the hotel. But yeah, we have survived the start then. We've held on to P2. Definitely felt like we could have given Bottas a bit of a run in towards the first corner there, but he was aware of us on the softer tyres, and he did defend it absolutely like we'd expect from a pole sitter here at the Monaco Grand Prix. But very, very quickly, you shift from seeing if you can sneak a couple of places at the start of this race to then focusing on trying to get into a rhythm as early as possible here. Bottas, though, really struggling as we head through the final couple of corners. They're very, very slow through Anthony Oaks, but we have survived the first lap here from the Monaco Grand Prix. And like I said, now you got to try and settle down into a rhythm there, as Red Bull clearly not doing that so far. Albon and Ricciardo have completely dropped off the front runners, as Hamilton, I think, is already getting held up behind them. Coming towards the end of lap 2, though, we are definitely struggling behind Valtteri Bottas here. He definitely doesn't seem to be very quick in that Mercedes car in the early laps of this Grand Prix, but sticking close to someone is quite easy around here as we set fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Getting round a car in front of you, though, is a very, very different question. The only problem is, for my race strategy to work here, we cannot afford to be overheating the rears, stuck behind other cars. Obviously, just having to work those tyres a little bit more in the dirty air here, so we do need to try and get a move done on Bottas, if possible here, as we head back up the hill onto lap 4 of this Grand Prix. You can just see we sit under the gearbox of that Mercedes as we head down in towards Upper Mirabeau. Thought about going for something there. Not quite close enough to make anything happen this time round. As again, just heading through the Lowe's hairpin there. Bottas, you can just see we're just sneaking around that rear wing, trying to show the nose where we can here. See if we can force an error out of the fin, but it just isn't working at the moment here. We're just trying to get a move done early, so it makes the rest of our race a little bit earlier. A little bit easier even. Don't know how trying to get the move done early would make the race a bit early. Words with Matt. Heading on to lap 5, and now the DRS has decided that it no longer wants to work on this car, so just making our day that little bit more difficult, as you can see already. Starting to struggle a bit on these tyres, so we might just have to sit back a bit from Bottas for a few laps, and then hopefully we can try and get round him. Did the team say we got to pit for repairs? Is that what the issue is? Is the DRS stuck open? Oh my god, the DRS is stuck open. No wonder we're struggling. It's not the tyres. The DRS is stuck open as we head through the final few corners of the lap here, so this is not what we need. The team said we have to pit if we want to try and get this fixed here, so we're going to have to pit him really early in this Grand Prix, and this could really put pay to a good result here today. But there's no way we can continue with the DRS jammed open like that. I didn't even spot that as we head down in towards the first couple of corners there, so that's been really, really unlucky for us in this race, and who knows where we're going to be out now in the Monaco Grand Prix, but we're going to be stuck in a lot of dirty air, I would have thought. 2.1 second stop. The team haven't even got it sorted. What on earth are we meant to do?
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those.
The DRS is still stuck open here as we head back out of the pit lane here, so what on earth are the team going to be able to do with this? We can't afford to pit again if they're not going to get it sorted. Could our race already be over before it's even begun here from the Monaco Grand Prix? I mean, the car doesn't feel too bad with the DRS open on fresh rubber, but I mean, this is either going to lead to a massive crash at some point, as you can just see. The team are now saying stay out with the DRS stuck the way it is, so we never should have even bothered pitting in the first place then in this Grand Prix. But I mean, can we even do this? Is this even legal in Formula 1, just to run around with the DRS open all the time? It feels highly unsafe from the driver's side, I'll be honest. But we're still running quite quickly at the moment, trying to think about going for a move on Jordan King. But yeah, I mean, even through the tunnel, obviously one of the places where even when DRS you could use it at any point during qualifying, couldn't use it heading through the tunnel here at the Monaco Grand Prix. So I'm not really too sure how to feel about this, but we have got a run now on Jordan King. Up the inside we have a look in towards the chicane there, a rather aggressive move on our former teammate, but again, we've got round him. What on earth are we meant to do in this race though?
Our gap to the car in front is 1.5 seconds.
One lap later here, we're all now over the back of Esteban Ocon. I've sort of learnt to drive through this DRS failure, but if the tyres get a bit overheating or anything like that, as we stick the nose at the inside of the Renault man. Ooh, he does try to keep the nose there on the exit. I'm sure he wasn't too happy with that rude slamming of the door that we just did, but yeah, I've really got no idea what on earth we're going to be able to do here if the car, like that, if the car gets loose. We damage the front wing, but I've really got no idea. Coming on to lap 9, all over the back of Pierre Gasly in his AlphaTauri here, but still, the DRS jammed wide open. We've got front wing damage as well, so no area of the downforce is working as effectively as it should be. That's not going to help us out either. Pierre Gasly, what on earth is this train through the final few corners there? Gasly tries to keep the nose at the inside, and we've completely pit manoeuvred the AlphaTauri as well there. And we've got a virtual safety car. It's all not looking good at the moment. I'm not sure we can continue on like this in the race, because this just seems so dangerous in Formula 1. Oh, it's gone! The DRS is closed again! We're going to have to pit though at the end of this lap because of the amount of front wing damage. But finally the team have got it sorted, so as soon as I was thinking about retiring the car, now we can pit and hopefully try to get to the end here. I mean, this race is going to be an absolute write-off. Mercedes are dominating it so far. But, yeah, we're going to have to pit again then. End of this lap on some fresh mediums. And then hopefully from there, go to the end. Coming in through the final chicane, or through Larascas even, into the pits we go. For the second time in this race, inside 10 laps. It's really not been the start to the Monaco Grand Prix that we would have wanted. But if we can walk away with any points here, then it'll probably be a good result. After everything that's gone on in the early stages. We had a really good shot at the race victory here today, but I think we're going to need a miracle if we still want to expect to get something like that here in this race. We're going to be back out in, I think, P20 here in the Monaco Grand Prix. 9.5 seconds stop. And yeah, Pierre Gasly into the pits as well. Apologies to him for that at the end of the last lap. But let's just get our head down and pray that we can try and get something out of this race still. That's what I like to see, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but at the moment, we're just trying to get a few laps in and hope that we can just try and recover something here. It really hasn't taken us long before we're all over the back of Kimi Räikkönen, Magnussen and Matsushita in this race. Should be able to get a run around the outside of the Renault in towards turn 1. No, we'll switch back to the inside. No, we won't. Räikkönen very, very aggressive in his defending there, but we do try and get a run up the hill. Look at this from Räikkönen, all over the place, trying to defend from us as we head up in towards Casino Square here. No idea why he's so desperate to try and defend from a car that is much, much quicker around here than himself. Up the inside in towards Mirabeau, and we've pulled the move off. Can we now try and line up a move on Magnussen, who's on hards? Oh, tried to get the nose up the inside, but Kevin Magnussen never won to back down from a challenge, as I'm sure we're all well aware in the world of Formula 1. We have got a good run though as we head through the tunnel. He's trying, he thinks about going defensive. We slot the car at the inside though, very, very aggressive on the overtake, but that's the only way you can be around here. Next up, Matsushita. 15, all over the back of the young Japanese driver as we head up towards the top of the hill. Can we try and get a move done into Casino Square? Well, Matsushita sort of half gave us the space as we head down the hill there, up the inside in towards Mirabeau. Just give up, mate, please. Don't try to fight this more than you need to. And once again, it really doesn't take us long before we're all over the back of the next train of cars. This time round, though, round the outside through the hairpin on Sergio Perez, just having a torrid day out after facing some grid pens there. Next up, Giovinazzi and De Vries. Obviously, after we had to battle all these guys last time out of Spain, I was hoping around Monaco we wouldn't have to do it yet again, but that's just the way this race has gone so far, and we're still not even halfway there. This is very, very much going to feel a bit like a marathon over the course of this Grand Prix, all over the back of Giovinazzi, who just breaks a little bit earlier than I was expecting in towards Larascas, trying to look around the outside. Don't hit the wall though. Up the inside through Anthony Noakes.
Nice move. Good job.
Not too sure what Jeff meant there by nice move, but we're back to where we began again. And even worse, because Magnussen's got past us, Räikkönen's got past us. Things just get worse and worse today. Honestly, what on earth's that? DRS isn't even stuck open. I'm still considering retiring the car because pretty much half race distance now. We're way off the points. The tyres have given up as well. It's just not a good day, and we may as well, I mean, the engine reliability. Where are the... you can see the rear tyres are absolutely destroyed there. The ICE rather worn as well. Yeah, I think this race is pretty much a write-off, and we're not even halfway there at the moment. So, Räikkönen into the wall, I think. Maybe there's a position to be had. Not too sure what that was from Kimi, but yeah, very, very much considering just bringing the car in, trying to save the engine parts. You know, we've got a World Championship to battle for here, not just a race victory. We've already run this race before. I would love another, but today is certainly not going to be that day. Trying to get a good run out of the final corner on old Kimi Räikkönen. Up the inside in towards turn 1 this time round. And we do pull the move off once again. Once again, I'm going to look around the outside of Magnussen. Oh, again, he gives us a squeeze as we head down the hill here. I mean, we're still making overtakes, but these just aren't cars we should be battling in this Grand Prix. And I look at it, the top 10 are, what, going through the final corner? I think trying to make up, what, close to half a minute is going to be difficult. Perez and Giovinazzi once again just in front of us, around the outside of Sergio Perez. Oh, Giovinazzi dives it in. So that was all a bit wonderful suddenly. Back up into P15 of this Grand Prix. Ocon there, just exiting out the pit lane, so it's going to be 14th place here in Monaco. But we just crossed over the halfway stage as well. I think the guys just in front of us have pit. So we're not now that far off the points, but still, this race feels like a write-off. Cars into the pits, the end of lap 20. We might just find ourselves back up inside the top 10 of this Grand Prix there. There goes Lando Norris, and yes we are. P8 here in Monaco. We're still probably going to have to pit once more between now and the end of this race, but nice to know there might still be a chance of something here. We shouldn't give up. I'll be honest, I was very, very close to just a couple of laps ago, but we can't afford to give up just yet. If we get a safety car now, we're right back in this. Coming towards the end of lap 21, we got Lance Stroll into the pit lane as Carlos Sainz seems to be struggling just a little bit on his fresh hard rubber there. Where is Lance Stroll going to come out in this Grand Prix? I think he's going to come out just ahead of Carlos as we wall up the wall through the first corner. No, Stroll doesn't get the run up the hill. So Sainz now up into 6th place. But Stroll tries to slot in between myself and the McLaren. He's got cold rubber. So we're going to try and make a move work as we head out of Casino Square. There a little bit of wheel banging as we head down the hill, but you got to try and take those opportunities when someone's vulnerable. And we've done it. Now up into 7th place here in the Monaco Grand Prix. We're just trying to make up moves whilst we can. These mediums, though, definitely coming towards the end of their usable life, so we're probably going to pit sort of around end of lap 26. I'm going to say 2/3 race distance. And try to come in onto a fresh set of these softs. That was not a good move. But we've almost pulled it off. We're still side by side as we head down the hill. We've now pulled it off. It was a little bit sort of a day late and a dollar short, but we've done it. We're 6th. Charles Leclerc next up the road. Homeboy Charles Leclerc now right in front of us as we get a little bit squirrely as we head down the hill there. He's going a bit defensive. Not too sure what that was all about from Charles Leclerc there, but nice to see we are still quicker than these guys, despite being on some dead medium tyres here. I'm intrigued to see what we're going to be like on fresh softs against their hards. Could be sort of 2-3 seconds a lap faster, maybe even more, than a couple of the cars around us. But yeah, Sainz still just behind ahead of Lance Stroll. We're going to come in the end of the next one, but maybe, just maybe, we can get past Leclerc before then. Getting a good run out of the final corner on Charles Leclerc in towards the first corner. No, can't quite make anything work there. Team want us in the end of this one though, so nice to see we're on the same page. Let's get ready to pit. Oh, Charles Leclerc a bit slow through the hairpin. And we were up the inside, but Charles Leclerc was definitely not giving us the room that time round.
See what you can do.
Team are telling us to use the overtake button as we get about to dive into the pit lane here. Some things never change on F1 2020. But here we are then back into the pits. It's been a familiar sight over the course of this Grand Prix, I'll be honest, but we got 13 laps to go here on a fresh set of soft compounded tyres. Hopefully we can be out ahead of, I think it's Jordan King and Nick De Vries. 2.3 seconds stop. Yeah, we should be out ahead of those guys. So we're down to 13th place. If we can get 10th, I'll be happy, I'll be honest, before the end of this race. And hopefully with this much extra grip, we should be able to do that. Get a warning on pit exit. Not going to worry about that. 9 seconds the gap to Danny Kvyat up the road. Let's just see what we can get out of this race. Coming towards the end of lap 28. We're going to try and push for one final fastest lap here. It's going to be a 1:09.8. So rather happy with that one. And yeah, we've definitely got all the pace over the guys in front of us there. We've been taking about 4 seconds a lap. Danny Kvyat, make a mistake. Allow us to go for a move somewhere, buddy. Ooh, round the outside through the hairpin again. Been a bit of a weirdly common overtaking place here today, but we've sent it round the outside of the AlphaTauri, back up into 12th place here around the Monaco Grand Prix. Next up, young Frenchman of Esteban Ocon. Through the final couple of corners, Esteban Ocon all over the back of the young Frenchman in his Renault. We've got the DRS as well, though. Hopefully we can go for a bit of a send in towards the first corner. Up the inside we go. And it's 11th place here in the Monaco Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo, former race winner as well, sat in 10th at the moment. He is the difference between us and points here, as we've got less than 10 to go. All over the back of Danny Rick. Lap 31 here of the Monaco Grand Prix. Honestly, after the first 10 laps, I never thought we'd make it this far, but coming towards the end of this, if we can just get a few points on the board, who knows? With how tight it is so far, this World Championship, how critical every point is going to be in the early stages here. We can't afford to give up. We do need to try and get around the Australian, though. Otherwise, it is still nil points on this Grand Prix. And obviously, we're due, if we get inside the top 10, get the bonus point for fastest lap as well, which is always handy to have. We've scored 4 fastest lap bonus points this year, as around the outside through Larascas. Danny Rick, mate, see you later. Next up, Verstappen. No idea why the team want us in again, but hopefully now we can get a run on Verstappen as we head up the hill. Hopefully have a look up the inside. No, Verstappen, very, very aggressive on his defending, as you'd come to expect from the young Dutchman here. Oh, just, yeah, not too sure how I feel about that one. Being very, very aggressive, moving around a little bit in the braking zone. I'll be honest, around the outside through the hairpin, my favourite overtaking place for whatever reason. And it's once again given us an opportunity. I'm at a 9th. We're back into the points now comfortably. Next up, Lando Norris. At 33, Lando Norris is hopefully going to be the next victim in this overtaking spree of a Grand Prix that we've had. Not often do you see overtakes at Monaco, but I think already today we must have pulled off, what, close to 20 overtakes here, I think. It has just all been action from start to now in this race, but hopefully we can get now to the checkered flag. Norris there, very, very slow as we head into Tabacas. It looks like we might have our first retirement of the day. Who is that going slowly behind? I think it was Ocon. It is Esteban Ocon. And we've got a safety car with just a few laps to go here from the Monaco Grand Prix. Are we going to see people pit? No, we're not, but it's going to rebunch up the entire field. Could this open up an opportunity right at the end? So, 3 laps to go then here from the Monaco Grand Prix, and it could be a little bit chaotic at the end of this one. The safety car is about to come in. We have got a lot of lap traffic in the way. Hopefully there's going to be some opportunities for ourselves to make some moves on these final remaining laps of this race. I'm thinking if we could try and get up towards Sainz, I would be quite happy with that, but restarts aren't always our strong point. It is green flag racing here once again from the Monaco Grand Prix. A bit of a wheel spin getaway at the final corner, but the top 3 are nice and clear. Hamilton is in a bit of traffic, and then the rest of us have got quite a few lap cars to deal with before the end of this Grand Prix here, though. But we're still focusing on trying to make up some places on the guys around us. It's given our soft rubber a bit of a chance to cool down, and you can already see a bit of a train starting to form behind Nicholas Latifi here. We've just got to try and be brave and do exactly that. Up the inside of Lando Norris, this time around the inside at the hairpin, but we've got to take every opportunity we can get because these hard compounded tyres are A, going to take a little bit longer to heat up again, and B, are probably pretty worn out. Latifi, a little bit sketchy with the blue flags, but we do get around the outside of the Williams man as we head down the hill through the chicane. Don't put it in the wall now. After everything we've been through today, do not stack it now. It's a lap and a half to go here. We're all over the back of Lance Stroll. Oh, it's not good. It's not a pretty sight, I'll be honest. As we head down the hill, we get a warning for a collision there with the Canadian. I'm sure he's probably not too happy with that move, but it is a move that has now successfully been pulled off in the end. Carlos Sainz a couple of seconds up the road there. He's got a little bit more lap traffic to navigate, though, with just one more lap to go here from the Monaco Grand Prix. Still the backing getting a bit fishtaily. I think these tyres are probably not too happy with the way we've treated them in the last stint of this Grand Prix. I'm sure the car isn't too happy either. It has really been through the wars here today. Plenty of action, plenty of excitement, plenty of heartbreak as well around the Monaco Grand Prix here today. There's Pierre Gasly, I think that is, just getting out of the way as we head back down in towards the first corner. DRS has now been enabled once again, but I don't think we're really going to have any opportunity to try and capitalise on it. Gasly's had a torrid day out down in P20 there. I think George Russell hasn't done too badly for Williams, as we're just walloping the walls, trying to get this thing to the checkered flag now. I think P7 is all we're going to be able to get here, but if you told me halfway through P7 would be what we can get here, I would have probably really taken it. Around the outside of Gasly through the hairpin. Not a move for position, but it's still a move that we've completed. Carlos Sainz now, the car just in front of us, as there's blue flags everywhere. It's all a bit chaotic towards the end of this race, but Mercedes, they have absolutely controlled this one after my woes early on. I think it's Bottas in the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix, who's going to come through for a historic win here on the streets of Monaco. I think George Russell P2 ahead of Albon in P3 there as well, so Mercedes, I'm sure, ecstatic with that result. Bottas is a Monaco Grand Prix winner and becomes the second man to win 2 races this season. We, though, are going to come through for P7 at the end of the day. I really felt like this could have been a win, but with everything that's gone on, P7, honestly, I'm happy with.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They've done it then. They've won here in Monaco with an emphatic performance and a victory they can be proud of for years to come. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Valtteri Bottas passes his rival to take over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there we are then, guys, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas, a historic and well-earned win at the end of the day. Pole position and the race victory. I'm pretty certain he led basically every lap as well there, but he takes the win just a second clear of his teammate George Russell there, and I think, yeah, as Crofty said, I think they've now taken the lead in the Drivers' World Championship. Our main big 3 rivals finishing top 3 there. The only person that sort of I was surprised by was Daniel Ricciardo down in 12th place there. But Hamilton, good points on the board in 4th, but never really seems to have shone in the early races this season. There, a decent result for Charles Leclerc. Had a Sainz, myself, Stroll, Norris and Verstappen rounding out the top 10 there. And you can just see further down the order, though, no other major surprises, I don't think. Obviously, Ocon not making it to the end. A few guys a lap down. And Sergio Perez never quite able to make progress that we would have expected from him there. But on the 3-stop strategy to still score points against everyone else on their 1-stop. So we should probably be quite happy with that, I'll be honest, despite it being our worst result of the season so far. There, championship-wise, though, yep. You can see Valtteri Bottas now top of the standings there, 3 points ahead of Alex Albon, who is now 5 points ahead of myself as we drop down to 3rd place in the World Championship. Not too sure we've been this low down at any point so far this season there. George Russell up to 4th ahead of Daniel Ricciardo as well. There are still 5 drivers within a perfect race weekend of the championship crown at the moment there. Hamilton in a bit of no man's land in 6th, but making a bit of gains on Daniel Ricciardo there. As you can see, Sainz now best of the rest ahead of Verstappen and Charles Leclerc there. Norris moves past Sergio Perez with that good result when Stroll moves past Kimi Raikkonen as well there. Jordan King with that solid result, moves himself to best of the non-point scorers so far. And constructors-wise, you can see Mercedes on top, 6 points ahead of Red Bull, as we're still sat in 3rd place. They're 23 back. Ferrari 4th, McLaren head of Racing Point and AlphaTauri, who've jumped Renault. Haas still in 9th place there, with Williams back down to the rear of the field as well. But thank you all so much for watching. It's probably going to be, I think, one of the longest videos from this series so far. There was plenty of action here from the Monaco Grand Prix, but we will be back next time out where we head to another street circuit, another track that creates a lot of drama. We head to Baku. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.